What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Stitch Time podcast. Today, we're going to talk about regulating your emotions. Something that I've been thinking about lately is how I process things now. 6 months ago, I would process things differently. I would spiral, just like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do when things got stressful or hard? But I found myself now where when something happens in my life, instead of stressing out about it, I I plan. I will process things slower and I will come up with a solid plan instead of like panicking and like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm gonna do, and just spiraling and just like freaking out. And I feel that it's a really important topic to discuss today is because it affects so many areas of your life. And I had an incident last week at a job where a coworker, the way she was speaking to me, was just rude, and I was upset with it, and I basically said that I wasn't going to allow for somebody to talk to me like that. And then later on, I thought about it, I'm like this was a younger person. I'm like, you know what? That's a younger person. That's someone that hasn't learned to truly regulate their emotions. And it just made me think, and I'm like, that'd be a really good idea to like talk about like the idea behind regulating your emotions and how different areas, how technically it affects every area of your life, from your relationships. After I got a divorce, I go to therapy, and one of the things that my therapist had said was like, whenever he went through a breakup, he waited a year before he got into a relationship, and it really got me to think. And I was like, I understood partially what he meant, but really when it clicked for me is when I realized I was processing things differently. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, he's right. Because when you go from one relationship to another relationship, all you're doing is you're just monkey branching. You're just jumping to that next relationship, but you didn't take time to work on yourself. You didn't take time to improve on yourself and to process things and look at your life and determine, what do I need to fix, or what are some things that I want to change. And one of the areas that I feel is a big factor when it comes to waiting and going into another relationship is working on regulating those emotions and being able to look at different situations and processing them in a way of thinking without just taking action, but going through it and thinking clearly and how you want to get through it. And that's important when you're in a relationship, because if you can't process something with a partner, it'll never work. And that's a really important thing. And that applies to so many different areas of life. Just like I said with work, you can't just flip out on people. You can't just react to people instantly. If you do that, it just comes off like, I don't know, rude. And then it made me think about how that has affected me in my lifting and like doing cardio and stuff. And like, it has forced me to have a better plan than I used to. Like lately, I've been altering the amount of cardio I've been doing. I've realized that my goals are changing. My goal is I would like to lift and for 365 days, and then I would like to possibly pursue doing another powerlifting meet. And it's something that I've wanted to do for a while. The way I look at it is that it's unfinished business. I in the sport of powerlifting, I have made goals for myself over the years. I've competed in, I believe, four or five different weight classes, and this is just another challenge that's been put in front of me that I'm like, man, I've always wanted to do it. Why not do it? So, but I feel like regulating my emotions has really helped me have a better idea of like what I want to do, instead of just going balls to the walls and not really having a plan. it's allowed for me to sit down, develop a plan that really works for me and will get me closer to my goals in a smarter way. And like, you know, I was working out to the point with me, I was working out to the point that I could barely move some days and sore to the point that I could barely bench, even lift a 50-pound dumbbell. And a lot of my lifting videos, you can kind of tell because the weights are kept light. I'm not hitting the 70s, I'm not hitting 80s anymore. And part of that was due to the fact that I have been losing weight, but also a lot of it was due to the fact that I was going nuts with the lifting and the cardio and lifting for 2 hours and then doing an hour of cardio every single day. But I also have noticed that it's breaking down my body to the point that it's not just no longer enjoyable, but also it's becoming almost Groundhog Day in a bad way. It's not like the happiness of the pursuit is being lost. And I don't want to lose myself in it. I want to make sure that I'm still enjoying the process along the way, even though that it's meant to be hard, but also if I'm not enjoying it at all, how long am I going to be able to continue that before something hurts, before I hurt myself or something happens, or I just quit on myself? So that's where regulating my emotions has really helped me in that area of my life. And it's gone over into my dieting where I realized like these workouts, I would come home starving to the point that I would have shots of honey. Like I would drink straight from the bottle honey to get sources of sugar into me as quick as possible so I can get on my bike and ride and not feel just starving and completely um, empty. So I really started to think about things. I'm like, okay, we're doing all this working out. You are losing weight, but also the risk of overeating is there because you're working out to the point that you're just starving and you're willing to eat whatever in that moment. And I realized I'm like, okay, I really need to change how I'm doing this because, like, yeah, you're burning 1,000 to 1,500 calories, but you're risking yourself eating a lot more. Your body's breaking down a lot more, and I really need to think: is this the right way to be handling this? And then it occurred to me, I'm like, okay, what if I backed it off on the working out, focus more on the dieting, focus more on my protein intake, and I've done that, and I've noticed I'm actually losing weight because, like, yeah, you're not working out as much, but you're also not eating as much. You feel better, you're waking up more motivated, and it makes you want to push yourself more, but also remember where the line is so that you can get up and go hard in the paint every single day. And I'm finding myself enjoying my workouts again. I'm enjoying trying different movements and I'm enjoying the process again. I'm like, dude, it's working. Like I'm back where I'm at. I'm noticing changes in my body that I'm liking. I'm noticing like I'm tightening up. I'm sore in this area that normally I wasn't. My shoulders are feeling better. So I noticed that just me really thinking about is this the right way to handle this has helped me tremendously. And, that has flowed over into my career. Since I got into management, I've been in management for over 5 years now. And I've always been the type of person that I never want to act like I'm better than people. Obviously, there comes a time and a place to make sure people know that you are the boss and like things are going to be done a certain way. But also, I want people to respect me along the way. And in order to get respect, you have to treat people with respect. And that has been my biggest motto when I speak in an interview, actually, is I always say, to me, if I want people to respect me, I need to respect them. And that's something that I feel that a lot of people that are involved in management, they lose sight of, they lose track of who they were, they forget where they came from. They forget to humble themselves. And a lot of that comes from your emotions and how you process things. And if you process things just like a bowl of like, I want you to do this right now, like people are not going to give you the respect that you want from them. And it's just going to cause issues. And you're not going to get the best worker out of that person. They're not going to be the best person they can be. And I have seen this on a personal level with employees from the point that I was a team lead and to the point that I was a supervisor. And that is something that I realized. I'm like, okay, it is important that to make sure that I'm just not going around just being an asshole. And it has really paid off in the world of business for me. And, there's been times where I have told my people, my managers come to me and basically said, hey, you're not producing enough. And that's when I turn to my people in a morning meeting and I say, hey, listen, coming down on me, that means I got to come down on you guys. But basically, I lay it down to them. I explain to them, this is what's expected from us. I need you guys to do this, and I'm able to get the work out of them that's expected because they look at me and they give me that respect that I'm asking for. Because we're on a level playing field. I'm willing to step in and help where help is needed. And I've always said that I will never put somebody on something that I'm not willing to put myself there. So I'm not going to put somebody in a job or have them do a task that I wouldn't expect myself to do. And that has been very important for me. But that's another area that I feel regulating your emotions is so important. And just life in general, it has helped me so much. And I highly encourage you to really write down your thoughts and think about how you react to things. How do you react to financial issues? How do you react to situations that are setbacks? And I look at situations that have happened to me 9 months ago. I look at how situations happened to me years ago and how I react to them now. I basically look at whatever it is and say, okay, this sucks, but I'm going to get through this. Whereas before, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't have the money. What am I going to do? I got to pay for this. And for instance, my truck got hit by a deer. At the time, I didn't realize my deductible was as high as it was, and it cost me a lot of money. And I was like, shit, what am I gonna do? And like, instead of like really processing it, I like panicked. Um, but before that, I instead of looking into my deductible, I rushed straight into filing a claim, not realizing the deductible was that high. So that's a perfect example of me not looking at my situation and thinking things through before reacting to them. But where I'm at now, stuff doesn't get to me. I don't stress out like I used to. Like obviously stress is there, but peace, my peace of mind and regulating my emotions has become so big and a part of my life that I look at both areas there and I want to make sure that I'm keeping my peace. And I look at what do I need to do to keep my peace. My peace means a lot to me now. I enjoy living a peaceful and stress free life and drama free life, but also that requires me looking at what I need to do and figuring out what is the best method forward to make sure that I continue to protect that area of my life. And me doing that has helped me tremendously to the point that I'm able to sit down and have a budget and really have a solid plan. So I recommend to you really look at your emotions and how you process things and figure out what can I do better? How can I process these things better? Because in the end, it will pay off more than you realize, and the people around you will notice it too. On the surface, I feel like I'm so calm, and underneath, I'm calm too. I used to not be like that. I used to be like, oh my gosh, I just freak out and panic, and but I'm not. That's not who I am anymore. But that has taken months upon months of really sitting with myself and processing how I handle things and really thinking things through and reflecting on my life and realizing that that's not the person I want to be anymore. I want to be the man that is calm through everything, or as calm as can possibly be. Obviously, there's times where you get upset, but at least think things through before you you know get upset. So I hope you take something from today's episode because I feel like this is a topic that not a lot of people talk about or really understand. And honestly, it has become such a big tool in my life and it has helped me so much. And honestly, I'm so glad right now that I'm not in a relationship because it has allowed for me to focus on myself and truly look at the areas of my life and say, I don't want to be like that anymore. That is not who I am. I want to be like this and make the movements needed to be able to become that new person. So go work on yourself. Go work on yourself. It'll pay off so much. So many areas of my life. I look at myself now and I'm like, I don't even know who you are anymore, man. But not in a bad way, in a good way, in a positive way. With that, adapt, overcome, and conquer. Go find out who you are, guys. Till next time.